नफरत के बाजार में मोहब्बत की दुकान. That is the best way I can say it, which is that it is felt most strongly by the Muslim community, okay, because it is done most directly to them. But in fact, it is being done to all minorities.
Rahul attacks Prime Minister Modi.
That we have a group of people in India who are absolutely convinced that they know everything. And of course, our Prime Minister is one such specimen.
Congress reaches out to overseas Indians. Prime Minister Narendra Modi headed to the US next.
नफरत के बाजार में मोहब्बत की दुकान खोली.
Battleground shifts to the United States. Diaspora politics takes center stage. Road to 2024 has begun.
Hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination for news, newsmakers, talking points. Tonight's big story. The battle for 2024 has now found a new playground, the United States. Today, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi was speaking in San Francisco, where he lashed out once again at the Modi government, accusing the government of having ignored minorities and Dalits and not listening to people's concerns, even claiming that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was trying to play God. Prime Minister Modi, remember, is all set for an official US visit next month. The BJP typically has hit back at Rahul Gandhi, accusing him of insulting India on foreign soil. The battle lines have once again been drawn. But does the Indian diaspora and do overseas Indians really matter when it comes to politics in this country? Our top story today focuses on the battle for the hearts and minds of overseas Indians.
I think if you sat Modi ji down next to God, Modi ji would start explaining to God how the universe works. Yes, and God would get confused that what have I created?
Rahul Gandhi fires new salvos at Prime Minister Narendra Modi, this time from American soil.
They can speak to scientists and explain science to them. They can, speak to historians and explain history to them. They can explain, warfare to the army, flying to the Air Force, whatever they want, they can, And at the heart of it is mediocrity. That they actually don't understand anything.
Addressing the Indian diaspora in San Francisco on Tuesday, the Congress leader accused the Modi government of attacking federalism and misusing central agencies. He referred to the placement of Sengal in parliament to claim the Prime Minister was diverting attention from real issues.
I think the Parliament House, these are distractions. The real issues in India are unemployment, price rise, spread of anger and hatred, crumbling education system, price of education, price of healthcare. These are the real issues. BJP can't really discuss them, so then they have to do the whole scepter thing, lying down and doing all that. So, aren't you happy I'm not lying down?
The BJP hit back, alleging the Congress leader was defaming India abroad.
राहुल गांधी जी की हर विदेश यात्रा भारत का अपमान करने में कहीं पीछे नहीं रहती और इस बार की प्रायोजित ये विदेश यात्रा भी उसी दिशा में है जहां वो अपमान तो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का करना चाहते हैं, लेकिन अंत में देश का अपमान करने से नहीं हटते हैं.
Welcome, Rahul ji.
In reaching out to the diaspora, Rahul Gandhi has taken a leaf out of Narendra Modi's book. The Prime Minister himself is flying to the United States this month on a state visit and will be interacting with overseas Indians. Modi's popularity among the people of Indian origin has meant world leaders make it a point to attend these mega events. Whether it was Donald Trump in 2019 or Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese a few days ago.
My friend, the Prime Minister, before the last time I saw someone on the stage here was Bruce Springsteen, and he didn't get the welcome that Prime Minister Modi has got. Prime Minister Modi is the boss.
Often domestic politics takes the center stage at diaspora events.
किसी प्रधानमंत्री को ये कहना नहीं पड़ेगा कि मैं दिल्ली से 1 रुपया भेजता हूं और 15 पैसा पहुंचते हैं। वो कौन सा पंजा था जो 85 पैसा घिस लेता था?
Prime Minister Modi warmed up to diaspora events in big way after winning elections in 2014. Rahul's reach out comes in the run-up to 2024. Are these interactions about image building, or is there more to it? And does the diaspora really influence elections in India? Bureau Report, India Today.
Rahul Gandhi versus Narendra Modi, battle lines drawn both in the United States and of course here in India. Joining me right now is someone who's traveling with Rahul Gandhi in the United States, the overseas president of the Indian National Congress, Sam Pitroda joins me. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Pitroda. You are with Rahul Gandhi on this tour to the United States. Should we be looking at this as purely an image-building exercise for Rahul Gandhi at a time when he has been disqualified as an MP in India? The BJP has been targeting Rahul Gandhi here in India, so he's chosen the United States to make his case.
No, it is not part of an image-building exercise. It is a standard thing that we do in various countries. He had an invitation from Stanford University. So we worked around that invitation because university closes in next few weeks. So this was the only slot they thought would be appropriate before they close. And this invitation has been around again for a couple of months. And we accepted this invitation. And then we planned around that invitation other activities.
But
so he's mainly here in San Francisco.
But there is a feeling, Mr. Pitroda,
at the Stanford University.
There is a feeling, Mr. Pitroda, that Rahul Gandhi went to Cambridge University and London earlier this year. Now he's in Stanford. Is there a conscious effort somewhere to rebrand Rahul Gandhi, to try and give him an intellectual perspective, demolish a narrative that the BJP, many believe, has built around Rahul Gandhi, that he's a pappu? Are all these foreign trips part of that exercise?
No. The answer is no.
Yeah, so that's your short answer is no. But then how do you perceive these events, Mr. Pitroda, as helping the Congress party or Rahul Gandhi politically? The BJP says that every time he goes abroad, he's not just targeting Mr. Modi, he's attacking India. Do you agree that the real challenge for Mr. Gandhi lies here? The 2024 elections are just a year away. How will all these events taking place in the United States actually help the Congress in those elections?
Every interaction is not designed to benefit Congress party or Rahul Gandhi. We see this as a part of our moral responsibility to talk to larger community. As I have said to you earlier, we strongly believe that Indian democracy is larger global public good. At Stanford University, we are talking to domain experts on democracy, professors, intellectuals who have written a lot of books, articles, and done a lot of research. And we sincerely believe we have a lot to learn from them. So we do this on a regular basis because we need to go out and interact with other qualified people in the research and other areas working on democracy. And since he got an invitation from Stanford, we thought it'll be a good idea to accept it and work around this and set up few other visits. So we are in Silicon Valley for 2 days, today and tomorrow. Then we go to Washington, D.C. for 2 days. And then we are in New York for 2 days.
But you see, Mr. Pitroda, there is a feeling that in all these meetings, whether on the West Coast or in the future on the East, where Rahul Gandhi, as you say, is speaking to intellectuals, students, professors, the narrative is common. The narrative is democracy is under threat in India. BJP and RSS are a threat to minorities. The Prime Minister is either incompetent or is, as he said today, thinks of himself as God, that the BJP and the RSS are spreading hate. It appears that Rahul Gandhi therefore has a standard idea of what he believes is wrong in India, and he's taking that to the world, be it in London or now here in San Francisco. Is there a standard template he's operating on, and do you believe that's useful?
No, I think that is one piece of the conversation that you are picking up. Of course, that is a piece, but that's not the only conversation, because a lot of these conversations are not even public. You know, you meet with a professor and let's say 10 experts, that conversation is not public. Like we had series of conversations in Cambridge, which were not public. So out of 5 events, maybe 1 event is public and the 4 other events are not public. So you pick things from public event, and you are right, from public event you get an impression that we are saying Indian democracy is under strain. And we believe that. I believe that too, not just Rahul, that institutions are captured, media is biased, that civil society is under strain, and as a result, watchdog initiatives are undermined. And there is very little rational, logical, respectful, dignified conversation in public space. And that bothers many of us. And there is only one-way communication, which is broadcast, not interactive. For example, let's say, why is the Prime Minister having press conferences? That's what democracy is all about. Democracy is not about broadcasting messages. Democracy is about listening to people. And to me, this is a great concern, that Prime Minister of a nation like India does not have press conferences. I'm giving you one example, but there are many, many examples.
But Mr. Pitroda, while you question the Prime Minister, target the Prime Minister, and you have every right to express your view, the fact is Prime Minister Modi has also traveled around the world, been received by huge audiences overseas. In Australia, for example, he was termed as a rock star. He's also coming later next month to the United States. He's a very popular leader globally. So while you say that his communication skills are one way, there will be others who will say, Mr. Modi, whatever he's doing, is rather successful at it.
No, don't confuse attracting huge audience with functioning of democracy. It is like somebody from opposition saying that we have elections, that's why we are democracy. It is one element of democracy. Democracy has many elements. Democracy is all about freedom, justice, dignity. It is about respect for other human beings. It is about equality. It is about inclusion. It is about diversity. So we look at many dimensions of democracy. Of course, Prime Minister gets a lot of respect, and we are proud of India's Prime Minister if he gets a lot of respect, because he's getting respect as the Prime Minister of a country of 1.4 billion. That's great, nothing wrong with it, but don't confuse that with democracy.
But do you agree somewhere that Prime Minister Modi is, as a brand, and is a bigger brand, a far better communicator, is able to connect with much better with large audiences overseas than Rahul Gandhi? Do you agree with that, that this Modi versus Rahul binary which we draw only works in favor of Mr. Modi.
No, I don't agree, because connecting with large audiences require interactive communication. And broadcasting is not connecting. Okay? I'm very clear. As a communications man who has spent 60 years on communication, broadcasting is not communication. Days of broadcasting are over. It is all interactive. Not only listen.
Well, you're talking about listening.
Need to interact. No, not only need to listen, need to interact.
So you're saying that
Again, very
Rahul
different.
Gandhi's you're saying Rahul Gandhi is interacting and therefore is a different kind, and listening is therefore a different kind of communicator to Prime Minister Modi. But let me ask you in conclusion, in all of this, what role really is the diaspora playing? All these meetings Rahul Gandhi has been undertaking in the United Kingdom in February, now in the US. In the build-up to 2024, do you agree that the diaspora, the overseas Indian, has a very limited role in actually enhancing the health of Indian democracy? If you say Indian democracy is under threat, those issues will be resolved, Mr. Pitroda, here at home, not in a San Francisco or a London.
Sure, but you are not here to resolve that issue. Okay? You are not here to resolve Indian issue. You are here to have a broader conversation as part of your responsibility to global community on having dialogue with democratic institutions, individuals, domain experts, academicians, research people, think tanks. I know that the think tank in Washington is not going to vote in India. That's okay. Everything is not about voting. Everything in life is not about winning election. That's not the way I personally see the challenge.
Sam Pitroda, appreciate your joining us there from San Francisco. You're there with Rahul Gandhi, so you're giving us, in a way, the perspective of Mr. Gandhi. Thanks very much for joining me here on the news today. So to our talking point now, do overseas Indians really matter in a big election here in India? The battle for US hearts and minds between Rahul Gandhi and Mr. Modi. Is this about image building above all else? Joining me now is Supriya Srinath, the Congress's spokesperson in our studios, R.P. Singh, the BJP's senior spokesperson, K.C. Singh, senior diplomat, and we also hope to be joined by Geeta Mohan, our Foreign Affairs editor. Appreciate all of you joining us. To you, Supriya Srinath, first. The Congress seems to be pushing Rahul Gandhi's image, many believe, in overseas audiences, London one day, San Francisco. But what benefit is it going to have in this Indian election? I asked this to Sam Pitroda. I'm asking this to you. Shouldn't Rahul Gandhi be traveling once again to Indian universities and taking his message to India? What is he gaining by going overseas? Because the BJP is saying he's going overseas and attacking India.
There are two questions you've asked me. The first question is, why does Rahul Gandhi travel overseas and what does he gain out of it? And why should he not go to Indian universities instead? Last month, in fact, this very month, in the beginning of the month, Rahul Gandhi went for a lunch with Delhi University students. The warden and the provost and everybody was there and they asked him questions. She turned out to be a BJP member, and under pressure, a notice was issued by Delhi University to Rahul Gandhi that this was trespassing and you could not have been on campus. That's the reality of India's institutions right now. That's point number one. So which university should Rahul Gandhi visit? I will be very happy that if he goes to any university that invites him, but guess what? These universities are damn scared of what the Modi government will do to them. People who've had a friendly conversation with him had to come out and issue a notice. Now to your question about why does he travel overseas. Just last week, the Prime Minister was overseas, visiting all kinds of countries, finding countries on the map of this world, visiting them, trying to put his point across. Mr. Gandhi is a leader of the Congress party. There are Indians overseas whose heart beat for India. Why should he not talk to them? We must use every platform possible to talk about India, to talk about dialogue, to talk about discussion.
But
what
the
is wrong
BJP
with
says
that?
he's going there to attack Mr. Modi and in a way undermining, according to them, Indian democracy. He's targeting Indian democracy.
How exactly is he targeting Indian democracy by speaking to a bunch of Indians in the United States or London? I don't understand that. The problem with the BJP is that first they had issues because Rahul Gandhi was an MP. Then they say, you know, we don't give any importance to Rahul Gandhi. But the reality is, at 5:30 this morning, when Mr. Gandhi was scheduled to speak, I told my team, I said, guess what? The BJP, its fake news factory, its IT cell, some very tall in the media will be so busy attacking Mr. Gandhi for the next few days because their agenda has been set out. The reality is Mr. Gandhi has not said anything which is factually incorrect. Let the BJP come up with facts. The BJP's problem is that they can have a propaganda machine, assassinate reputations, abuse women, do all kinds of things. But when somebody shows you the mirror, it's attacking Indian democracy. Why?
Let RP Singh respond. RP Singh, why is the BJP so angry every time Rahul Gandhi goes abroad, speaks about Prime Minister Modi, speaks about, he says, how he believes minorities and Dalits feel unsafe? Why does that, according to the BJP, make Rahul Gandhi anti-India?
Rajdeep, we never said that he speaks against Prime Minister Modi. He has all the right, whatever he wants to do. But when he says, he goes and says why Europe and US, the defenders of the democracies, are oblivious of how huge chunk of democracy in India has come and undone. I mean, this was his, I'm quoting from what he said there. Or when he provokes a sixth child saying, you are treated as a second-class citizen in India. So what is it? Is it against Prime Minister Modi or is it in India, against India? When he says that there is democracy is under threat in India, judiciary is under threat in India. So when they win elections in Karnataka and Himachal, is democracy under threat? Or when this time Khalistanis raise slogans, which is wrong. I mean, which the government there should have taken care. Khalistani raised slogan in his and disturbs his meeting there. This is because the karma comes back. Last time the man in this in his address said that you are treated as second-class citizen. That's why they came this time probably. So when you demean or defame country, when you undermine the institutions here, when you question the institutions here, that's the problem. He can use whatever language they are fond of using.
You're saying you have no problem with him attacking Prime Minister Modi. You're saying why does he question institutions? You've raised the Khalistan issue as well, which has become a talking point. The fact that there were slogans raised, heckling. The BJP is saying that's because the Congress has never really recovered from 1984. How do you respond?
The message about heckling was put out by the manager of the fake news factory in the BJP, the IT cell head, Amit Malviya. As an Indian, I want to ask you this question. Why would you tweet against Rahul Gandhi in support of people who are talking about Khalistan? Are you so blinded by your hatred against Rahul Gandhi that you choose to stand with people who are demanding Khalistan? And what did they go on to say? They actually went on to say that we will do this with Mr. Modi also. As a responsible government, as a party in power, you should have taken up this matter with authorities. The government should have stepped in. What did Mr. Gandhi do instead? He started raising slogans of Bharat Jodo. The reality is, आप हमेशा भारत तोड़ने वालों के साथ क्यों खड़े होते हैं? That's the question I'm raising.
So you're very clear on the issue of issues like Khalistanis raising slogans. You're all on the same side, right?
Let me remind you, Rajdeep, when Rahul Gandhi was in Punjab, he raised this very serious concern and it said, it is a border state, we cannot let law and order be maligned here. But look what happened. And today the BJP has proven they're so blinded by their hate about Mr. Gandhi that they're even willing to stand with people who want Khalistan. That's what their tweets seem to say.
RP Singh,
should they not apologize to this country?
RP Singh, respond.
Well, I said, I mean, you probably didn't hear it properly. I said, last time Mr. Gandhi in Cambridge said to a sixth student, pointing out toward a sixth student, you are a second-class citizen in India. Mr. Modi treats you, his word was, Mr. Modi treats you as second-class citizen in India. That's why this Khalistani could dare. And it's our government which has taken up this issue with each and every government. Whether it's Australia recently, which has banned the Rebrand in 2020, and also whether it's America or Canada or UK. I mean, it's our government who has filed cases against all such elements where we can. So it's not, don't tell us. I mean, you better see mirror yourself.
No, but you agree, Mr. R.P. Singh, Mr. R.P. Singh, you agree that if there are Khalistanis in a crowd, whether it is with Mr. Modi or a Rahul Gandhi, we must all stand at one and call them out. You agree with that, right? All right? Am I correct? This is not
I said yes,
okay.
100%. I reiterate, Mr. Give me a second, Rajdeep. I reiterate. I initially said U.S. government should take stern action against all such elements who disrupted the program of Mr. Gandhi. But why did it happen? Because Mr. Rajiv Gandhi is the booster of 3006 in Delhi.
So, Mr. Singh, are you here saying that your party colleagues were wrong to attack Rahul Gandhi on this issue? They should have instead sided with Rahul Gandhi and attacked the men who were raising Khalistan, pro-Khalistan slogans. Are you not saying that? That's the only question I'm asking you, because you seem to be suggesting what was done there was wrong. Why did your party then, blinded by the hate with Mr. Gandhi, go ahead and do what they did?
Said all those who raise slogans of Khalistani should be booked under the law.
Okay, good. He is making it clear. Mr. R.P. Singh. Okay, Mr. R.P. Singh has made it very clear. Okay, good.
You first tell me why.
Amit Malviya should also make it clear, and so should a bunch of other BJP leaders.
I'm going to stop the two of you for a moment because KC Singh...
you should make it... First, Rahul Gandhi should make it clear. Who pointed out to us...
Don't divert from the issue. Your ITL and your leaders are attacking Mr. Gandhi because they're standing with the pro-Khalistanis.
Supriya Shrinet, I know you're in the studio, so you have a slight advantage as a result, but let me turn to KC Singh. KC Singh, how are you seeing all these battle lines? Now you've got the Prime Minister who will also go to the United States in a few weeks from now. This battle for overseas hearts and minds, is that what it's about? Is that about brand building? Mr. Modi will go there as a more muscular leader, projecting his brand of politics. Rahul Gandhi projecting a more softer brand, saying, Nafrat chodo, mohabbat ki dukaan shuru karo.
Rajdeep, we always had a consensus in India, political consensus, that you will not take your political differences abroad. This was broken by the Prime Minister for the first time in 2004 at Madison Square Garden, and it's been an ongoing game since then. And now Congress has joined that game. But the question is, what do we need the diaspora for? Most of them are citizens of those countries. They are committed by oath to be loyal to those countries. So what are we seeking from them? We are seeking basically cultural affiliation, bridges to India in terms of, and a lobbying effort wherever that is permissible. We've seen it happening in the past too. It is not that lobbies have worked now. The Indian lobby was very successful to get us the nuclear deal when Manmohan Singh was Prime Minister. So it started in the Overseas Indians Divas. That started in 2003 with Mr. Vajpayee. But then do you take your political differences abroad? What do you do? What do you use the diaspora for? Unfortunately, the diaspora has begun to be used as a captive audience where you are sending messages out and taking your disputes there. And that is why in the last 2 years, the number of temples attacked or disfigured in Canada has gone up tremendously. It had never happened in the past. Because you see, abroad, the composition of population is different. Sikhs are about a third of the population in Canada of the Indian diaspora. It's about 10% in US and about a quarter to a third in England as well as in Australia. But if you're going to be gathering people of who belong to or are tilting towards a particular party, a particular kind of majoritarian thinking, then you're creating divisions in the diaspora. And that is, I think, the most dangerous thing. And that is what is causing the problem. So it's not a question of my Khalistani is worse than your Khalistani. I think anybody raising any slogan, etc., is not right. But then you are also exporting your political differences abroad.
You're making a very, very important point. The diaspora is, in a sense, being hostage almost to your political differences at home, and that's being exported. Geeta Mohan, is there a concern among the Ministry of External Affairs at all about this? The Prime Minister will be in the United States, but this diaspora being used for almost settling political scores at home.
Well, the diaspora, like KC Singh said, has been a part of India's soft power diplomacy. It has now become a part of the election toolkit as well, Rajdeep. And that's why increasingly we are seeing not just Prime Minister, not just the current dispensation, but also opposition leaders going and engaging the diaspora. I see nothing wrong in that. Ministry of External Affairs is monitoring what is happening in the United States of America and Rahul Gandhi's visit, particularly the political wing rather than the bureaucrats or the diplomats. But they're also preparing for a larger gathering of the Indian diaspora in Washington, D.C., when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to be there. So it is, like KC Singh said, Rajdeep, not just this dispensation. The earlier governments have also done it, engaged the diaspora. It has become increasingly a political tool, and we're seeing that. But again, it's not just Rahul Gandhi raising issues about the current dispensation. Prime Minister Modi, or for that matter, the BJP also has been using the same platform to raise issues about or keep talking about Nehru and the Nehruvian foreign policy. So we've had it from both ends.
But the question is the scale.
Party, but the fact is that this is an important toolkit.
You're saying it's become an election toolkit, but, Supriya Srinath, there's a sense that, look, Mr. Modi has been extremely successful in a way in promoting a kind of long-distance nationalism. Getting NRIs across the world to sort of celebrate the idea of India. He's done it in Australia. He will probably do it in the United States next month. He's done it across the world. Rahul Gandhi seems to be going there almost to suggest that, look, please see what's happening in India. Muslims, Dalits feel unsafe. RP Singh mentioned the case of a Sikh being told, look, you're being reduced to second-class citizens. Now, many will say that's being divisive. How do you respond? Do you believe Mr. Modi is projecting brand India? Rahul Gandhi, in a way, is sort of trying to puncture brand Modi. Is that the goal when he goes abroad?
Your analysis couldn't be farther from the truth. And let me first bust the first analysis that you pointed out. Some brand nationalism across the 7 seas, and you named Australia in particular. 24 hours after Mr. Modi came back from that Australia meeting where people from India were flown down, chartered planes were hired and all of that. I don't want to get into all of this. But Australia put a ban on 6 Indian states to send their students to Australia. What sort of brand nationalism is it when it doesn't work for your people? I want to understand that. He was called apparently the boss. Why did boss not ensure that Indian students get their due? Students from UP, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Haryana and 2 other states have been barred by Australia. What sort of nationalism the purpose serves? And just to answer your question, Mr. Modi's brand of foreign policy, if it is not about promoting himself, it's about winning contracts for Mr. Adani. Because you are isolated in your neighborhood, that's the reality. Whether it's Bangladesh, that is far more distance from you than it ever was, or whether it's Sri Lanka, we all know what's happening with China and inconsequent Pakistan. A neighbor like Bhutan, which has been an all-weather ally, is today telling us, please leave. So what sort of a foreign policy is this? What sort of nationalism, quote unquote, are we promoting?
But are you also accused of sort of going abroad to somehow or the other use those visits to try and puncture the Modi balloon? Is that the main aim of Rahul Gandhi?
Absolutely not. We are not so driven by hatred that we will stand with the Khalistanis like the BJP does. So no, Mr. Gandhi is there to have conversations. His topic of discussion, whether it was in Cambridge or now when he said what he said, is so relevant. He says learning to listen for political leaders is very important. That is the culture of our land. We have to listen to people because one person alone does not have the answers to everything. You cannot sit with God and explain to him how the universe works. And that's exactly what is happening in India. And these are people whose hearts beat for India. Why not have a conversation with them? If Mr. Modi can have a conversation, then so should we.
RP Singh, very quickly respond to Supriya Srinath. What KC Singh also said, that are we taking our domestic battles abroad and that's dangerous in some way?
First, let me tell about KC Singh, sir. It's not that we are taking any domestic battle there at all. The Khalistanis were the idea of the Congress party. Congress got Khalistan in, and Congress was the one who promoted Khalistan here and abroad both. And we are suffering that. We are trying to counter that by ensuring that they are dealt sternly as possible in various countries also, so that tomorrow they should not bite them again. Those Khalistani will bite those countries only. But coming on this puncturing the Modi balloon, he doesn't puncture Modi balloon. We don't mind, but he punctures the India's success story. He goes and or the narrative, Dalits are being hate, Muslims are being hate, or Sikhs are second-class citizens. There's a story he's trying to build. I mean, has anyone asked Congress party how many Dalits have been killed, how Dalits are prosecuted in Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, how they are dealt with in Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh? I mean, no one speaks about that. And issue is that India has a success story. We talk about India's success story. We don't talk about divisions policy.
So you're saying you're talking about India's success story. Yes, very quickly.
Rajdeep, we have lost a prime minister. Our prime minister was assassinated by people who wanted Khalistan. What exactly is Mr. Singh referring to? I mean, shouldn't you be ashamed to use that
he's saying Prime Minister Modi is promoting India as a success story.
What he said earlier. No, what he said earlier about Khalistan. He should take back his words. We've sacrificed our Prime Minister. 32 bullets is what Indira ji was shot with. How dare you say what you did? I mean, shame on you. Let's rise above petty politics and let's respect the supreme sacrifices of our leaders. I don't expect any better from you because you belong to the Modi clan.
Gentlemen, and Supriya, this is Khalistan is not the focus. Please, let's be very clear. We are all united when anyone raises slogans. Any Khalistani raises slogans for a separate Sikh state, we will all speak out against it. I think let's be very clear about that. Let's not draw that also now into a politically partisan battle. But a final word from you, KC Singh, 30 seconds. What do you think should be the way forward? How should, whether it's Prime Minister Modi or indeed Rahul Gandhi, approach these visits? We are in an election year. Some element of that will spill over wherever they go.
Look, first I must say that during the last visit to Australia, Prime Minister Modi largely abstained from saying anything about domestic politics. And I think that is the path he needs to take. He can enthuse the diaspora, invite them to come to India, invest in India, build brand India, but do not create divisions. And raising Khalistani slogans in many of these Western countries is not a crime. Raising any slogan is not a crime. And I think that's a problem that BJP has to understand. And therefore, if a third of the population in Canada are Sikhs, what is the outreach to them? If your meetings are largely very Vedic ritual based with a lot of RSS-inspired color and coloring to it, then you're not reaching out to a very large part of the diaspora. Are you reaching out to a captive part of the diaspora, which is only exacerbating the differences? Okay. That is my limited point. And therefore, when you go... Last point. Rajdeep, last point.
Yes, very quickly.
Rajdeep, last point. And I completely disagree with Rahul Gandhi attacking Prime Minister personally. Whatever mistake Prime Minister may make, but you have no business to make jibes at him and say he can sit next to God. Keep it at the level of ideas. Do not get personal.
Okay. Do not get personal. Do not get personal is the message.
Abki baat Trump Sarkar is what he was doing in US last time. So let's get real
here. So I think KC Singh is suggesting Rahul Gandhi shouldn't get personal. And he's also suggesting that Prime Minister Modi also should not only be speaking to captive audiences, but be speaking to a greater diversity of opinion. Geeta Mohan, KC Singh, Supriya Srinath, RP Singh, appreciate your joining me here on our talking point tonight.
Thank you.
Now, while Rahul Gandhi is in San Francisco, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in election-bound Rajasthan. Remember, the state is going to the polls later this year. And the Prime Minister has used the occasion of 9 years of his government to travel to Ajmer, where he claimed that his government had done more than any previous government in lifting people out of poverty and bringing in genuine welfare measures. Listen in to Prime Minister Modi.
भारत को नया संसद भवन मिला है। कांग्रेस ने भारत के गौरव के क्षण को भी अपने स्वार्थी विरोध की भेंट चढ़ा दिया। कांग्रेस ने 60,000 श्रमिकों के परिश्रम का, देश की भावना और आकांक्षाओं का अपमान किया है। 60,000 मजदूरों के पसीने को उन्होंने लात मारी है। उनको गुस्सा इस बात का है कि गरीब का बेटा इनके अहंकार से आगे आड़ा कैसे आ रहा है। 2014 से पहले पूरे देश में जनता भ्रष्टाचार के विरुद्ध सड़क पर उतरी हुई थी। कांग्रेस सरकार सीमा पर सड़कें बनाने से भी डरती थी। प्रधानमंत्री के ऊपर सुपर पावर थी। कांग्रेस सरकार रिमोट कंट्रोल से चल रही थी। जब संकट हल करने में, पानी से जुड़ी चुनौतियों को समाप्त करने में कांग्रेस सरकार कभी आगे बढ़कर काम नहीं करती। कांग्रेस को सिर्फ झूठ बोलना आता है और आज भी कांग्रेस यही कर रही है।
To the latest from Manipur now, Union Home Minister Amit Shah has visited More and Kangpoki in Manipur, a state that has witnessed much violence in the last month. India Today visited Churachandpur, where the fight has started. Tonight's ground report from Indrajit Kundu from battle-scarred Churachandpur.
Manipur on edge. A state gripped by ethnic violence. The cycle of tension started on April the 27th in Churachandpur. India Today's Indrajit Kundu and Taposh Beri on Wednesday headed out to the epicenter of the violence. The route from Imphal to Churachandpur was heavily guarded, the destruction very hard to miss. India Today found a village that has almost been entirely razed and gutted.
Barely 50 kilometers outside capital Imphal, and these are the telltale signs of the kind of violence that has freshly erupted over the past 1 week in Manipur. You can see here burnt houses, charred vehicles that are still lying here.
Churachandpur district is home to the ethnic minority Kuki community. The Kukis constitute the dominant population in this district. The Indigenous Tribals Leaders Forum, or the ITLF, which is spearheading the tribal movement in Manipur now, is also based in this district. Any possible solution to the ongoing crisis perhaps lies in this very district. The reason why Home Minister Amit Shah himself flew to Churachandpur on Tuesday to personally speak to the aggrieved Kuki tribal leadership.
The Meitei community is trying to portray to the rest of the world that it is, a religious war between Hindus and Christians, but it is not so. The issue is more of a land issue. I don't know why the BJP government do not say, the Chief Minister Biren Singh till now, because he's not doing a great job.
While the Kukis and Meiteis are divided on many issues, the trigger for the latest violence was a High Court verdict directing the state government to include the majority Meitei community in the scheduled tribes list. The Kuki tribals want complete administrative separation from Manipur, a demand rejected by the Biren Singh government.
We demanded total separation from Manipur because we no longer think that we are safe under the Meitei community anymore. So many lives have been lost, so many churches has been burned, so many villages are been burned.
On Wednesday, Amit Shah visited More and Kangpokpi for more talks with civil society representatives.
Home Minister Amit Shah, who was in the state, has sought 15 days to bring some sort of a resolution. However, with both sides taking a hardline stance, clearly people in Manipur are in for a long haul. With camera person Taposh Beri, Indrajit for India Today in Manipur.
To tonight's special feature, which comes about the state of cheetahs. After all the publicity around Project Cheetah, the fact is the death of 6 cheetahs, 3 adults and 3 cubs, have raised questions over the project. Last week, we had wildlife expert Valmik Thapar saying that the entire project needed to be reviewed. What exactly is the ground situation, especially in Kuno National Park of Madhya Pradesh? That's our other focus tonight.
The reintroduction of the cheetahs in India. A bold experiment flagged off by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. 20 cheetahs were brought from Namibia and South Africa to the Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh. which is becoming India's hub for cheetahs. But now, the death of 6 cheetahs, including 3 cubs, in a span of just 2 months has jolted a section of wildlife experts. One of the adult cheetahs died in a mating incident, another due to a kidney ailment, and the third due to intense heat.
इन दुर्लभ प्रजातियों को कूनों में रखा गया है और जिस तरह से मौत हो रही है वो कहीं ना कहीं ये इशारा कर रही है कि स्थिति वहाँ पे गंभीर होती जा रही है। मौत और जो कैजुअल्टीज़ का जो भी प्रोजेक्ट में डिटेल था वो ये था, उम्मीद की गई थी कि होगी, लेकिन इतनी तेज़ रफ्तार से मौत होना ये दुखद है। मध्य प्रदेश सरकार चीता प्रोजेक्ट में जो भी वाइल्ड लाइफ ट्रेन कमिटेड ऑफिसर्स हैं उनको फील्ड पे उतारे और जो एक्शन प्लान में जो ईमानदारी से जो भी बिंदु है उन पर फॉलो किया जाए।
The central and state governments held a series of meetings this week to take stock of the situation.
मैं थोड़ा परेशान था, बीच में हम चीते लेके आए और उनमें से 3 चीते नहीं रहे। व्यवस्थाएं हम हर संभव करेंगे, लेकिन अक्सर सर्वाइवल जो रेट रहता है बच्चों का तो काफी कम होता है। कहते हैं 10 में से 1 बच्चा ही सर्वाइव कर पाता है चीते का।
When Project Cheetah was conceived, wildlife parks in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Gujarat and Uttar Pradesh were considered. The Kuno National Park was selected after much deliberation. Its stable temperature of between 35 to 40 degrees during summers is similar to Namibia. Kuno National Park also doesn't see extreme winters or rains. The grasslands of Kuno are also seen to be ideal for cheetah habitation. Experts believe up to 36 cheetahs can be relocated to Kuno.
Death of 6 cheetahs in just 3 months raises serious question mark over the Project Cheetah in India. This has now forced the Madhya Pradesh government to settle down the world's fastest running animal in other national parks of Madhya Pradesh along with the Kuno National Park now. With cameraman Amrish in Bhopal, this is Ravishpal Singh for India Today.
So how serious is the threat to Project Cheetah? I'm joined by a very special guest. Vincent van der Merwe is a conservationist based in South Africa, and they have been very much part in a way of this project in India. Mr. van der Merwe, thanks very much for taking the time off to join us. 6 cheetah deaths now in 2 months. You have been quoted as saying the worst is still to come. What do you mean by that? What are your fears?
My greatest concern is that with all of these mortalities, you know, the Indian media will put a lot of pressure on the authorities, and animal rights groups will put a lot of pressure on the authorities in South Africa, and that we will give up on this reintroduction. Reintroduction is a very long road to success. It takes many years of failure, many cheetah mortalities before you achieve reintroduction success. So these mortalities that we are observing are perfectly normal. They're perfectly within the expected mortality rates that we anticipated before we started this project. And I just hope that the Indian conservation authorities don't lose faith, and we keep focused on the end goal, which is to have wild cheetah populations back in India.
So you're in a way saying don't be alarmist at this moment, while at the same time, in a way, you're not ruling out the deaths of more cheetahs while this relocation, translocation takes place.
Oh, I mean, it's an absolute certainty. In the next year, we will lose at least another 7 cheetah. That is a certainty. So, you know, cheetah have naturally high mortality rates. There's a lot of factors against them. But you must remember that we have 50 cheetah every year that we can make available for reintroductions from South Africa. We have too many cheetah in this country. You know, we got to keep pushing, and we got to use these animals, and we got to make mistakes, and we got to learn from our mistakes, and we've got to use adaptive management to eventually prevail in India.
But what's the best way forward? You're saying that we should stick to Project Cheetah, but should we be creating more safe zones, fencing of areas in the national parks for the cheetah? How will that mitigate in a way to the danger to the cheetahs, many of whom who have died of either heat or mating incidents or other ailments?
Yes, I mean, so what the fences will do is they will prevent extreme ranging behavior. So, these cheetahs are being introduced into an environment where there's no other signs of cheetah. So the natural thing for a cheetah to do when it's released into a new environment is to look for signs of other cheetah. And if it doesn't find these signs of other cheetah, it will just continue walking. Fencing certain areas will enable you to manage them in a smaller area. Now, for Kuno management, to manage 20 cheetahs in Kuno National Park and outside of Kuno National Park is a massive task. If you take some of those cheetahs and you put them into Mukundra Hills, where it's 8,000 hectares and completely fenced, your logistics are so much easier. It's so much easier to manage those cheetah, to monitor them. The threat of escape is gone. The threat of human-wildlife conflict is gone. I mean, just last night we saw one of the Indian, this last week we saw one of the Indian monitoring crews getting attacked by a community living on the surrounding area of Kuno National Park. Having fences will prevent these kinds of problems.
So just one final question. Are you suggesting then, Mr. Van der Merwe, that we should redistribute these cheetahs to other parks possibly? Is that something that you think should be deliberated? Don't put all the focus on Kuno, distribute them more widely.
Okay, so yes, I think it's a wonderful idea to spread the risk, to take some of the cheetah to other national parks, because it'll ease the workload on Kuno. Then Kuno doesn't have to look after all of these cheetah. And, you don't, with cheetah reintroduction, you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket and risk all of the cheetahs in one reserve, because we don't know at this point in time if Kuno is good for cheetah. But if you move them to other reserves, like Mukundra Hills, Noradehi, or Gandhi Saga, then you're spreading the risk. And then you have, with any cheetah population, you have sink populations and you have source populations. We don't know if Kuno is going to be a sink population or if it's going to be a source population. So it'll be good to spread the risk, to move them to different areas. And if you have different parks, then you will have, certainly amongst them, you will have source populations. And amongst those different parks, you will have sink populations, and you are spreading the risk.
Van der Merwe, for joining me there from South Africa at a moment when there are questions being raised over Project Cheetah, for settling some of those concerns. I appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much. Okay, let's take a break at this point. On the other side, we'll bring you our Good News Today story, which comes from West Bengal. You're watching the News Today.
Where the software engineer meets the cool UI UX designer, meets the gifted content writer. To create the big dream, the world comes together at Sharda University. So where are you?
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Where the software engineer meets the smart market analyst, meets the talented photographer. To create the big dream, the world comes together at Sharda University. So where are you?
India Today Conclave South 2023, India's biggest ideas fest. Listen to Pinarayi Vijayan, Chief Minister Kerala, Mallikarjun Kharge, Amitabh Kant, Kamal Hassan, Rana Daggubati, P. Chidambaram, P.A. Mohammad Riaz, and many more. Book your seat now. indiatodayconclave.com/south.
Welcome back. Our good news today story comes from West Bengal. Shreya Saha, who suffered from cerebral palsy, got first division in class 10 board exams. Her parents are overjoyed and she has become an inspiration. It's our good news today story.
Shreya Saha's family is celebrating. The 16-year-old, who suffers from cerebral palsy, has scored a first division in her class 10 West Bengal board exam. She scored 502 marks, though she was never able to attend school every day due to her health condition.
उसको छोटा से ही जन्म से ही इसे हाँ प्रॉब्लम थी चलने फिरने में प्रॉब्लम हाँ चलने फिरने में तो पूरा ही प्रॉब्लम है इसको 4 days तो जाती ही थी हफ्ता में हाँ जाते हैं उसको कोई दिक्कत होता था नहीं कोई दिक्कत नहीं होता था वो व्हील चेयर में ही चल जाती है उसमें ही बैठ के स्कूल का अंदर क्लासरूम में वहीं बैठ के वहीं क्लास करती थी
Shreya says she wants to study hard and make her parents proud.
তো এই ফার্স্ট ক্লাস পাওয়ার জন্য কতক্ষণ পড়াশোনা করতে
মা যতক্ষণ পড়াতো সময় পেত মা যতক্ষণ ততক্ষণই পড়তো
আচ্ছা এই ক্লাস 10 তো হয়ে গেল এবার এরপরে কি পড়াশোনা করবে
আর্টস নিয়ে পড়বে
A local councillor has promised to fund Shreya's further studies.
हाँ हम लोगों ने किया है शशिदी आई थी वो खुद इनको एक चेक दे के गई हैं
सरकार के हिसाब से या फिर
नहीं वो अपने पर्सनल अभी तो वो पर्सनल अपने हिसाब से देके गई हैं हम लोग दोनों ने मिलके ही वो काम किया है तो हम लोग सब समय हैं और रहेंगे जो भी इनको जरूरत पड़ेगी उस समय उनके साथ में
Shreya now aims to do better in the higher secondary examinations.
From here it's uphill for Shreya and the family as the next target is that she will repeat her glory in the class 12 examinations and from there lead a better life. With camera person Kiranji, this is Suryagni Roy for India Today, Kolkata.
That's it on the news today. Thanks very much for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night. Shubhratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.